Some are saying that the sentence is enough. Others are saying they wanted more.
Andrew Reich is a former assistant U.S. attorney who knows the ins and outs of these kinds of cases. That's what the judge wants to hear, right, Andrew? He wants contrition. At least tell me you're sorry in some degree.
Yes, that's definitely an important consideration for the judge, right. Especially in a case like this, if the defendant comes in and doesn't show remorse. That's certainly not going to bode well for the defendant at the time of sentencing.
What would have happened if the judge decided to go further with the sentence and give him more time?
Well, this plea agreement in this case was a little bit out of the ordinary in the sense that normally you enter into a plea, you go into court, and it's up to the judge to decide what the sentence is, and you just have to accept that sentence, whatever it may be. This plea agreement actually provided that if the judge was inclined not to give the agreed to 3-year sentence, that the defendant would have a right and an opportunity at least to withdraw the plea.
Right.
So the defendant and the government pretty much knew that the court was going to impose the 3-year sentence because apparently they had not received any heads up from the court that something else was going to be imposed.
Judges have departed from that in the past, but it's very rare, and if the judge does that, it kind of weakens the hand of the prosecutors to cut a deal, right?
Well, there are many instances where the judge will ultimately make a decision that may be different from what the prosecutor recommends. The judge often may give a more lenient sentence or sometimes a more severe sentence. But again, this particular plea agreement was a little different because if the judge were going to give a different sentence other than the 3 years, the defendant would have had the right to withdraw the plea. Right. And in fact, the government also would have had a right to say, no, we don't want to go ahead with this plea agreement unless the actual 3-year sentence will be imposed.
Leading up to all of this in the past few days, we've been seeing letters from people supporting him and those who were saying give him the maximum, go longer than 3 years. Is that just ritualistic at this point? Was that going to make any difference for the judge today?
Well, that's a good question, and I think each judge is different on how much weight they actually place on letters to the court. So it's really hard to say how much letters like this influence a particular judge. So we saw letters on both sides of the picture. I think here there's a good chance that Judge Lisi had her mind made up maybe before reading all those letters, especially since there seemed to be a large amount of letters coming in from both sides.
Will he get a visit in prison from other prosecutors who say, give us something, tell us more, there's more to this story?
That I don't know. I don't know whether there's a cooperation part here. I don't know whether there's always a possibility that after he starts serving his sentence that he may reach out to the prosecutors and say, I'd like to see if something could be worked out and I'd like to provide information. But there's nothing that I've seen at least that indicates that cooperation is a part of this agreement.
That seems to be the big unknown, especially with those who are offering the bribe, right? We still don't know what's going to happen for them.
Right. We don't know what's down the road.
All right.
Andrew Reich, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.